Blog Talk Radio.
You don't understand, see, you don't get it.
People don't understand,
I'm
man.
a free man, and I don't mean just out of jail. I am
They just don't
free at
understand
last.
Corey Jackson, man. More mad than ever. How many more, man? My brother. We gotta stop, man. We gotta get free.
I have
Gotta put a stop to it. We gotta get free, man. Gotta get free. We can't keep doing this to it. This tale is ill. The autobiographic is real. So I share it from deep in my memory film. 11/40/35, inscribed on his khaki suit. I set across from my brother, trapped in his cell room. Different families around, attempting to heal wounds. Conversation by the hour for dark souls to soothe. But this case is different. It's telling treacherous niggas. Cowards my brother trusted that became his false witness. Picture this, a small town, locale with southern states. And that serves as the framework that outlines the case. The murder took place, victim of another race. She had status and spoke to governors face to face. More fuel for the flames of supremacy and hate that blacks will never escape without God's grace. On the court date, they brought him in shackled, he took the stand. Third black boy being charged for death by one hand. An argument in another state that wouldn't have a chance. But the Commonwealth of Kentucky is a southern land that still got problems with brothers from the motherland. They judge us not by character, but by skin. But in this case, it was one Negro head. They said similar to his in the car when she disappeared. Funny, how many blacks got similar hair? We unlucky. Evidence they use when they argue their trial, but never tested DNA and put it on file. It's all foul and wild. 50 years they gave him. Throughout trial, never showed his involvement with the playing. Just hearsay from inmates and the main suspect.
You don't understand. You don't get it. I'm a free man, and I don't mean just out of jail. I am free at last.
Gotta get free, man. Be more substantial evidence, man. Testimonies from local bums in a segregated city is the evidence they use to convince the jury committee. But really, that's only the second level of injustice. The first level was the lie detector test they shuffled. The main suspect failed too. But detectives lied to the judge to get a warrant through. For who? You guessed it, my brother's name in the loop. The table now set for Southern hospitality soup, and they be cooking black boys by ones and groups. Straight out their youth, they stamp them by stretching the truth. But don't get it twisted, I hate anything that's corrupt. But when the government is guilty, tell me who can you trust? Now 14 of the 50 years my brother is done, and never had nothing to do with the death of the gun, but was violently prosecuted by a snake with a tongue. No wonder we burn with hatred like the rage of the sun.
Let me ensure that I am through walking on the wild. That's all I've been trying to tell you. I have been sick with the social ills.
And good evening, good afternoon, good morning to you and yours, wherever you are on this world's wide web. You are listening to Crime Scene Investigation, the 12 Patriarchs featuring Judah, right here on Blog Talk Radio, on the Blog Talk Radio Network at blogtalkradio.com. My name is Brother Malachi. I am your host for another edition of Crime Scene Investigation. It is November the 25th, 2013. We are getting ready to get started momentarily, but we're going to have a quick music break, and we'll be right back right after this. To join in on our show conversation while we are here live, you can hit us up at 347-205-9279, and we'll play your comments or answer your questions right here. And whenever we are not on the air, you can always hit us up at 504-484-9388 or 601-297-2927. And yes, we are on Twitter.com at Men Empowered at Twitter.com, and our email address is menempoweredtoprosper@yahoo.com. See you back in 5.
watching over me. I want you to see they got my back when the devil attacks. When he raises his head, they cut no slack. Whatever I need, I can pray it. Wait for my God to come along and okay it. If I wanna get my praise on, I'll play it. Sit back, enjoy these tracks. I'm about to blow. Here we go.
It's the music of Joe McCrae, taken from the CD Song for You entitled Angels Watching Over Me. And we're back right here on Crime Scene Investigation, looking into the Testament of Judah. We've got about 26 paragraphs to go, and let's get to it. The copy of the words of Judah, what things he spoke to his sons before he died. They gathered themselves together and came to him, and he said to them, I was the fourth son born to my father, and my father called me Judah, saying, I give thanks to the Most High, because he had given to me even a fourth son. I was swift and active in my youth, and obedient to my father in everything, and I honored my mother and my mother's sister. And it came to pass, when I became a man, that my father Jacob prayed over me, saying, Thou shalt be a king and prosperous in all things. 2. And the Most High showed me favor in all my works, both in the field and at home. When I saw that I could run with the hind, then I caught it, and prepared meat for my father. I seized upon the roes in the chase, and all that was in the plains I outran. A wild mare I outran, and I caught it, and I tamed it, and I slew a lion, and plucked a kid out of his mouth. I took a bear by his paw, and rolled it over a cliff. And if any beast turned upon me, I rent it like a dog. I encountered wild boar, and overtaking it in the chase, I tore it. A leopard in Hebron leaped upon the dog, and I caught it by the tail and flung it from me, and it was dashed to pieces in the coast of Gaza. A wild ox feeding in the field I seized by the horns, and whirled it round, and stunning it. I cast it from me, and slew it. Paragraph 3. We're reading the testament of Judah concerning fortitude and love of money and fornication. Paragraph 3. And when the two kings of the Canaanites came in warlike array against our flock, and much people with them, I by myself rustled upon King Sir, and seized him, and I beat him upon the legs, and dragged him down, and so I slew him. And the other king, Talpu, I slew as he sat upon his horse, and so I scattered all the people, anchored the king, a man of giant stature, hurling darts before and behind as he sat on horseback. I slew for a hurl a stone of 60 pounds weight, and cast it upon his horse, and killed him. And I fought with anchor for 2 hours, and I killed him. I claved his shield into 2 parts, and I chopped off his feet, and I stripped off his breastplate. Behold, 8 men, his companions, began to fight me. I wound round therefore in my hand, and I slang stones at them, and killed 4 of them, and the rest fled. And Jacob my father slew Belisa, king of all the kings, a giant in strength, 12 cubits high, and fear fell upon them, and they ceased from making war with us. Therefore my father had no care in the wars when I was among my brethren, for he saw in a vision concerning me that an angel of might followed me everywhere, that I should not be overcome. Paragraph 4. And in the south there befell us together upon us greater war than in Shechem, and I joined in battle array my brethren, and pursued 1,000 in garments, slew of them 200 men and 4 kings. And I went up against them upon the wall, and the 2 other kings I slew. And so we were free Hebron, and took all the captives of the kings. Paragraph 5. On the next day we departed to Eritah, a city strong and walls, and inaccelerable, threatening us with death. Therefore I and Gad approached on the east side of the city, and Reuben and Levi on the west and south. And they that were upon the wall, thinking that we were alone, charged down upon us. And our brethren secretly climbed up the wall on both sides by the ladder, and entered into the city, while the men knew it not. And we took it with the edge of the sword. And those who had taken refuge in the tower, we set fire to the tower, and took both it and them. And as we were departing, the men of Taphon set upon our captives, and we took it with our sons, and fought with them even to Taphon. And we slew them and burnt their city, and spoiled all the things that were therein. Paragraph 6. Some of this that I'm reading reminds me of some of the things that were mentioned also in the book of Jasher. And when I was at the waters of Chelzabah, the men of Jobel came against us in battle, and we fought with them and their allies from Selam. We slew, and we allowed them no means of escaping and of coming against us. And the men of Makkah came upon us on the 5th day to carry away our captives. And we walked, and we attacked them and overcame them in fierce battle. For they were a host and mighty in themselves. And we slew them before they had gone up the ascent of the hill. And when we came to their city, their women rolled upon us stones. Stones, the brow of the hill on which the city stood. And I had Cylon hid ourselves behind the tower, and seized upon the heights, and utterly destroyed the whole city. 7. And the next day it was told us that the cities of the two kings with a great host were coming against us. I therefore and Dan reigned ourselves to be Amorites, and went as allies into the city. And in the depth of night our brethren came, and we opened to them the gates, and we destroyed all the men and their substance. And we took for a prey all that were theirs, and their 3 walls we cast down. And we drew near to Tamnah, where was all the refuge of the hostile kings. Then, having received hurt, I was wroth, and charged upon them to the brow of the hill. And they slang at me with stones and darts, and not Dan my brother aided me. They would have been able to slay me. We came upon them therefore with wrath, and they all fled, and passing by another way they besought my father, and he made peace with them. And we did to them no hurt, but made a truce with them, and restored to them all the captives. And I built Timnah, and my father built Rahibel. I was 20 years old when this war befell, and the Canaanites feared me and my brothers. Paragraph 8. Over I had much cattle, and I had for the chef of my herdsman Iran, and Abdullamite. I ran the Abdullamite, and when I went to him, I saw Barsan, king of Adullam, and he made us a feast, and he entreated me, and gave me his daughter Methuselah to wife. She bare me and Onah, and Shelah, and the 2 of them the Most High smote that they died childless. For Shelah lived, and his children are yea. 9. 18 years we abode at peace, our father and we, and his brother Esau and his sons with us. After that we came from Mesopotamia, from Laban. 10 years were fulfilled in the 14th year of my life Esau, the brother of my father, came upon us with much people and strong, and he fell on the bow of Jacob, and was taken up dead in Mount Seir, even as he went above Arena, and was he slain. And we pursued after the sons of Esau. Now they had a city with walls of iron and gates of brass, and we would not enter into it. And we encamped around and besieged them. And when they opened not to us after 20 days, I set up a ladder in the sight of all, and with my shield upon my head, I climbed up a sail with stones of 3 talents weights, and I climbed up and slew 4 who were mighty among them. And the next day Reuben and Gad entered in and slew 60 others. Then they asked from us terms of peace, and being aware of our father's purpose, we received them as tributaries. And they gave us 200 core of wheat, 500 baths of oil, 1,500 measurements of wine, until we went down into Egypt. 10. After these things, my son took to wife Tamar from Mesopotamia, a daughter of Iran. Now was wicked, and he doubted concerning Tamar, because she was not of the land of Canaan. And on the 3rd day, an angel of the Most High smote him in the night, and he had not known her, according to the evil craftiness of his mother, for he did not wish to have children from her. In the days of the wedding feast, I espoused Onad to her, and he also in wickedness knew her not. He lived with her a year, and when I threatened him, he lay with her, according to the commands of his mother. And he also died in his wickedness. And I wished to give Shelah also to her. But my wife Methuselah suffered it not, for she bore a spit against Tamar, because she was not of the daughters of Canaan, as she herself was. Number 11. And I knew that the race of Canaan was wicked, but the thoughts of young blinded my heart. And when I saw her pouring out wine, in the drunkenness of wine was I deceived, and I fell before her. And while I was away, she went and took for Shelah a wife from the land of Canaan. And when I knew what she had done, I enrushed her in the anguish of my soul, and she also died in her wickedness of her sons. 12. And after these things, while Tamar was a widow, she heard after 2 years that I was going up to shear my sheep. Then she decked herself in bridal array, and sat over against the city by the gate, for it was a law of the Amorites that she who is about to marry sit in fornication 7 days by the gate. Interesting. I therefore being drunk at the waters of Chozel, recognized her not by reason of wine, and her beauty deceived me through the fashion of her adorning, and I turned aside to her, and said, I would enter into thee. And she said to me, what wilt thou give me? And I gave her my staff and my royal crown, and I lay with her, and she conceived. I then, not knowing what she had done, wished to slay her, but the privity sent my pledges and put me to shame. And when I called her, I heard also the secret words which I spoke when laying with her in my drunkenness. And I could not slay her, because it was from the Most High. For I said, lest Happily she did it in subtlety and received the pledge from another woman. But I came near her no more till my death, because I had done this abomination in all Israel. Moreover, they who were in the city said that there was no bride in the city, because she came from another place and sat for a while, and she thought that no one knew that I had gone to her. And after this we came into Egypt to Joseph because of the famine. 46 old was I, and 73 years lived I there. 13. And now, my children, in what things soever I command you, hearken to your father, and keep all my sayings, to perform the ordinances of the Most High, and to obey the command of the Most High, and walk not after your lust, nor in the thoughts of your imagination, in the haughtiness of your heart, and glory not in the works of your strength, of the strength of you. For this also is evil in the eyes of the Most High. For since I also glory that in wars of no woman of goodly form ever deceived me, and upbrailed Reuben my brother concerning Behal, the wife of my father. The spirits of jealousy and of fornication arrayed themselves within me, until I fell from Bethuel the Canaanite, and Tamar, who was espoused to my son. And I said to my father-in-law, I will counsel with my father, and so will I take thy daughter. And he showed me a boundless store of gold in his daughter's behalf, for he was a king. And he decked her with gold and pearls, and caused her to pour out wine with us at the feast in womanly beauty. And the wine led my eyes astray, and pleasure blinded my heart. And I loved her, and I fell and transgressed the commandments of the Most High, and the commandment of my father. And I took her to wife. And the Most High rewarded me accordingly to the thought of my heart, insomuch that I had no joy in her children. Paragraph 14. And now, my children, be not drunk with wine, for wine turneth the mind away from the truth, and kindleth in it the passion of lust, and leadeth the eyes into error. For the spirit of fornication had wine as a minister to give pleasure to the mind. For these two take away the power from a man. For if a man drink wine to drunkenness, he disturbs his mind with filthy thoughts, to fornication, and excite his body to carnal union. And if the cause of the desire be present, he worketh the sin, and is not ashamed. Such is wine, my children. For he who is drunken reverence no man. For lo, it made me also to err, so that I was not ashamed of the multitude in the city, because before the eyes of all I turned aside unto Tamar, and I worked a great sin, and I uncovered the covering of the shame of my sons. After that I drank wine and reverenced not the commandments of the Most High. And I took a woman of Canaan to wife. Wherefore, my children, he who drinketh wine needeth discretion. And herein is discretion in drinking wine, that a man should drink as long as he keepeth decency. But if he go beyond this bound, the spirit of decency attacketh his mind, attacketh his mind, and worketh his will, and in making drunkard to talk filthily, and to transgress and not to be ashamed, but even to exalt in his dishonor, accounting himself to do well. 15. He that committed fornication and uncovered his nakedness had become the servant of fornication, and escaped not from the power thereof, even as I also was uncovered. For I gave my staff, that is, the stay of my tribe, and my girdle, that is my power, and my diadem, that is the glory of my kingdom. Then I repented for these things, and took no wine or flesh until my old age, nor did I behold and joy. And the angel of the Most High showed me that forever do women bear rule over king and beggars alike. And from the king they take away his glory, and from the valiant man his strength, and from the beggar even that little which is the stay of his poverty. We're going to take a quick music break, and we will complete this and finish it up all the way to 26. We'll be right back. You're listening to Crime Scene Investigation, brought to you by the Men Empowered Organization on the Blog Talk Radio Network at blogtalkradio.com.
said, Lord, today is my day that you bring me your life. Hey, come on, Lord, today.
And from the nation of Uganda is the music of Winston Mukasa. We are in the Testament of Judah, and we're now at verse 16. Observe therefore, children, my children, moderation in wine, for there in the four evil spirits, lust of, wrath of, riot of, filthy lucre. If ye drink wine in gladness, with shamefacedness, with the fear of the Most High, ye shall live. For if you drink not with shamefacedness, and the fear of the Most High departed from you, then cometh drunkenness and shamelessness. Still it in, but even if ye drink not at all, take heed lest ye sin in words of outrage and fighting and slander and transgression of the commandments of the Most High. So shall ye perish before your time. Moreover, wine revealeth the mysteries of the Most High, and men to aliens, even as I also reveal the commandments of the Most High and the mysteries of Jacob my father, to the Canaanite Methuselah, to whom the Most High forbade to declare, and wine also is a cause of war and confusion. 17. I charge you therefore, my children, not to love money, nor to gaze upon the beauty of women, because for the sake of money and beauty I was led astray to Methuselah and the Canaanite. For I know that because of these two things shall ye who are my race fall into wickedness. For even wise men among my sons shall they mar, and shall cause the kingdom of Judah to be Clemish, which the Most High gave me because of my obedience to my father. For I never disobeyed a word of Jacob my father, for all things whatsoever he commanded I did. And Abraham the father of my father blessed me that I should be king in Israel, and Isaac further blessed me in like manner, and I know that from me shall the kingdom be established. 18. For I have read also in the book of Enoch, the righteous, what evils ye shall do in the last days. Take heed therefore, my children, of fornication and the love of money. Hearken to Judah your father, for these things do withdraw you from the law of the Most High, and blind the understanding of the soul, and teach arrogancy, and suffer not a man to have compassion upon his neighbor. They rob his soul of all goodness, and bind him in toils and troubles, and take away his sleep, and devour his flesh, and hinder the sacrifice of the Most High. and he remembered not blessing, and he hearkened not to the prophets which he speaketh, and he vexed at the word of godliness. For one who serveth to passion, contrary to the commandments of the Most High, cannot obey God, because they have blinded his soul, and he walketh in the daytime as in the night. 19. My children, the love of money leadeth to idols, because when led astray through money, men make mention of those who are no gods, and it causeth him who had it to fall into madness for the sake of money. I lost my children, and but the repentance of my flesh, and the humbling of my soul, and the prayers of Jacob my father. I should have died childless, but the Most High of my father, who is pitiful and merciful, pardoned me, because I did it in ignorance. For the prince of deceit blinded me, and I was ignorant of a man, and as flesh being corrupt in sin, and I leaned my own wickedness, while thinking it myself uncorruptible. 20. Learn therefore, my children, the two spirits wait upon man, the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. And in the midst is the spirit of the understanding of the mind, to which it belongeth to turn whithersoever it will. And the works of truth and the works of error are written upon the breasts of men, and each one of them the Most High knoweth, and there is no time at which the works of men can be hid from him. For on the bones of his breast had been written down before the Most High. And the Spirit of truth testified all things, and accuseth all, and he who sinneth is burnt up by his own heart, and cannot raise his face upon the judge, unto the judge. 21. And now, my children, love Levi, that ye may abide, and exalt not yourself against him, lest ye be utterly destroyed. For to me the Lord gave the kingdom, and to him the priesthood, and he set the kingdom beneath the priesthood. To me he gave the things upon the earth, to him the things in the heaven. As the heaven is higher than the earth, so is the priesthood of God higher than the kingdom upon the earth. For the Most High chose him above thee, to draw near to him, and to eat of his able and first fruit, even the choice things of the sons of Israel. And thou shalt be to him as a sea, for as on the sea just and unjust are tossed about, some taken into captivity, while others are enriched. So also shall every race of men be in thee. Some are in jeopardy and taken captive, and others shall grow rich by means of plunder. For they who rule will be as great sea monsters, swallowing up men like fishes. Free sons and daughters do they enslave, houses, lands, flocks, money will they plunder, and with the flesh of many will they wonderfully feed the ravens and the cranes, and they will go on further in evil, advancing on still in covetousness. And there shall be false prophets like tempters, and they shall persecute all righteous men. 22. And the Most High shall bring upon them divisions one against another, and there shall be continual wars in Israel, and among men of other races shall my kingdom be brought to an end, until the salvation of Israel shall come, until the appearing of the Most High of righteous, and that Jacob and all the Gentiles may rest in peace. and he shall guard the might of my kingdom forever. For the Most High swear to me with an oath that the kingdom should never fail from me and from my seed for all days, ever and ever. 23. Now I have much grief, my children, because of your lewdness and witchcraft and idolatry, which ye will work against the kingdom, following them that have familiar spirits. Ye will make your daughters sing girls, and harlots for the divinations and demons of error, and ye will be mingled in the pollution of the Gentiles, for which things sakes the Most High shall bring upon you famine and pestilence, death and sword, avenging sledge and dogs, for the rending in pieces of enemies and riveling of friends, destruction and blighting of eyes, children slaughtered, wives carried off, possessions plundered, temple of God in flames, your land desolate, and your own selves enslaved among the Gentiles. And they shall make some of you eunuchs for their wives, and wherever ye will return to the Most High with humility of heart, repenting and walking in all the commandments of the Most High. Then will the Most High visit you in mercy and in love, bringing you then out of the bondage of your enemies. 24. And after these things shall a star arise to you from Jacob in peace, and a man shall rise from my seed, like the Son of Righteousness, walking with the sons of men, in meekness and righteousness, and no sin shall be found in him. And the heavens shall be opened above him, to show forth the blessings of the Spirit from the Holy Father. And he shall shed forth a spirit of grace upon you, and ye shall be up unto him sons in truth, and ye shall walk in his commandments, the first and the last. This is the branch of the Most High God, and the wellspring unto life for all flesh. Then shall the specter of the kingdom shine forth, and from your root shall arise a stem, and in it shall arise a rod of righteousness, and to save all that call upon the Most High. Now this right here is talking about Christ. You all recognize that. 25. And after these things shall Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob arise unto life, and I, my brethren, will be chief, even your scepter in Israel. Levi first, I the second, Joseph the third, Benjamin fourth, Simeon fifth, Issachar sixth, and so all in order. And the Lord blessed Levi, the angel of the presence meet, the powers of glory, Simeon the heavens, Reuben the earth, Issachar the sea, Zebulun the mountains, Joseph the tabernacle, Benjamin the lights of heaven, Dan the fatness of earth, the sun, Gad the olive, Asher, and there shall be one people of the Lord, and one tongue, and there shall no more be a spirit of deceit of Belial, for he shall be cast into the fire forever, and they who have died in grief shall arise in joy, and they who have lived in poverty for the Lord's sake shall be made rich, and they who have been in want shall be filled, and they who have been weak shall be made strong, and they who have been put to death for the Lord's sake shall awake in life, and the hearts of Jacob shall run in joyfulness, and the eagles of Israel shall fly in gladness, but the ungodly shall lament. and sinners are weak, and all the people shall glorify the Lord forever. 26, the final one of this particular episode known as Judah. Tomorrow night we will go into Issachar, the testament of Issachar concerning simplicity. 26, observe therefore, my children, all the law of the Lord, for there is hope for all them who follow his ways all aright. And he said to them, I die before your eyes this day, 119 years old. Let no one bury me in costly apparel, nor tear open my bowels. For this shall they who are king do, and carry me up to Hebron with you. And Judah, when he had said these things, fell asleep, and his sons did according to all whatsoever he commanded them. And they buried him in Hebron with his fathers. The end testament of Judah. We hope you have enjoyed this particular episode tonight. Join with us tomorrow on the episode, The Testament of Issachar concerning simplicity. So remember that our email address is menempoweredtoprosper@yahoo.com, and we will see you tomorrow right here on Crime Scene Investigation. Shalom, everybody.
It's been a long time coming. I had to get away from the things I was comfortable with. For real. Hey, hold up a minute. I went right back to sinning, acting all stagnated. I'm supposed to be winning, so that's a trick. I can see the devil face, so now I ain't gotta settle for this. And I ain't gotta go back to putting the licks. I ain't gotta cut her up because she is thick. I refuse to go and stole me some bricks. My church family, that's my clique. We breaking down the walls of Jericho. Only speaking the good news, I ain't got no excuses. If it's not for the Lord, I know my life is useless. No time to take grind to be acting foolish, man. My feet keep getting stuck in quicksand. I'm sinking quick, man. Feeling sick without the creator. The world is against me, they snapping like gators. Dog, I'm on my block with the heavyweighters. He on the block slanging the work. I'm on the block singing the word for real. I done smoked my drum. Yeah, dog, I done hung with G's. I ain't never could get up, dog, cause I ain't got greed. I couldn't see myself being the one in this world still planting bad seeds. I done been there and I done that. I done walked through the whole trap, seeing nothing but problems and no one to solve them. So I left to bring the answer back. He put it in my chest to penetrate the flesh so I can spread it from the south of the nation to the rest. Rocks of ages clear for me. Let me hide myself in thee so I can have me some peace. I thank the Lord for making me sharp just like a tree. Before I deceive, knowing what I sow I will reap. And man, it hot is hotter than a heap of coal blazing on fire. Don't call me amazing when I retire. Give God the praises, he is do so much higher. Bow down to the Messiah, King of kings, Lord of lords. He don't miss when he shoot, dog. Don't try to crash the board. It's JC who wore it. It wasn't me who wore it. The cross was on his back. Feeling worse than what you would feel if a Mack truck hit you. Don't let the black tux get you unless you know who is with you. Since I've been on this side, blessings been poured from a picture. Since I've been on this side, I'm like 100 times richer. I done smoked my drone. Yeah, dog, I done hung with G's. I ain't never could get up, dog, cause I ain't got greed. I couldn't see myself being the one in this world still planting bad seeds. I done been there and I done that. I done walked through the whole trap, seeing nothing but problems and no one to solve them. So I left to bring the answer back. Yeah, hard times got me stressing too, but I got a conscience looking over my shoulder like America's most wanted. And that is for my enemy, trying to bring me and my people down. But now he see he got to flee. His game plan is getting more lethal now. Seeing the same signs we see, and he see they coming quicker now. Hey, he know God ain't playing. He can see he ain't got no time to be delaying. He letting demons roam, shooting them out like he shoot them out of a cannon, dog. I had to relay back to my father. By doing this, they say I'm destined to make life get harder. Some people might say why bother, but for my mistakes I got the problem solver. His mother, the friend of Martha. God manifested in the flesh. No other God come before him, man, I must confess. I put an aroma in almost smelling like cess. I done smoked my drone. Yeah, dawg, I done hung with G's. I ain't never could get up, dawg, cause I ain't got greed. I couldn't see myself being the one in this world still planting bad seeds. I done been there and I done that. I done walked through the whole trap, seeing nothing but problems and no one to solve them. So I left to bring the answer back. I left to bring the answer back. I done been there and I done that. I done walked through the whole trap, seeing nothing but problems and no one to solve them. So I left to bring the answer back. I left to bring the answer back. My enemy thought I couldn't make it. He thought everything that he brought against me was gonna bound me with chains for the rest of my life. But when I understood that God was the leader and I'm just a follower, that's how I broke through. It wasn't about nothing I was going through. It was about what I had to overcome. And the things I overcame, that's my testimony to the world. Let us all know we can make it. No matter what we see, we can make it.